Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Dr. UUT channel. In the last video, we discussed a little bit about immunity, and the remaining part will be discussed in this video. This video is about the humoral and cellular immunity. Well, before I proceed, I would love to mention that this video is in English and available in Urdu. So let's commence in English. Humoral immunity and cellular immunity. Humoral stands for the humor, which is a fluid. So this immunity is the blood immunity, blood level immunity. So the immunity that is on blood level is known as humoral immunity, and the immunity that is on cell level or on a cellular basis, or if it is cell mediated, then we call that immunity as cellular immunity or cell mediated immunity. We can also call them with the B and T cells immunity, because humoral involves B cells and a little bit T cells, and cellular involves also the T cells. So this is also called as B and T cells immunity. The one we discussed earlier in the innate immunity, that was given the name as WBC immunity. So just WBCs were functional in that immunity, in the innate immunity, and here the functional cells are the B cells and the T cells. So what is humoral immunity? This is the immunity on blood basis, on blood level. What happens in this is that when the antigen enters the blood, the first prior portion or the first line, the front line soldiers are the B cells. The B cells will counter these antigen. They will start to counter. So in the meanwhile, they will combine with the antigens. Here is your B cell and antigen. They will combine together. After the combination, they will ask the help for the T cells, and the T cell will release the helper T cells. Now this helper T cell is available, so the helper T cells will then combine with them, with the antigen and the B cells. Here is B cell, antigen, and helper T cell. So the helper T cells will release the cytokine, which is one of the proteins used for regulation of these cells. So then these will be regulated, will be transformed into the plasma cell. Now here is your plasma cell, which is formed due to when the antigen combined with the B cells and antigen combination with the help of helper T cells. The cells produced are known as plasma cell. After their combination, plasma cell is produced. Now this plasma cell is responsible to release the antibodies, and these antibodies will then fight against the specific antigen which was available. So now this antibody is available to fight this antigen. Now what happens next is that sometimes it binds to the antigen and it destroys that, and sometimes the antibodies, after binding with these antigens, they call other cells to fight. There is a kind of link with this one also, with the cellular mediated also. In case of cellular mediated, what happens? In case of cellular mediated, the antigens are present inside the cell. So the cells start presenting these antigen on the surface of the cell. Now they carry the antigen from inside to the surface. Now they are just presenting this for what? For the T cells. So now this is given the name as, due to this activity that they are presenting the genes on the surface, these cells are known as antigen presenting cells, because they present the antigens to the surface. Now the T cells will identify this cell. After that, T cells will release cytokines, and these cytokines will further stimulate or regulate other cells like cytotoxic T cells, helper T cells, macrophages. So then these all cells will try to eat or destroy the cell on which the antigen is available. So somehow when the cytotoxic T cells combine with this cell, the cytotoxic T cells identify the MHC mechanism, that is called as major histocompatibility mechanism, by which the antigen is brought to the surface. So when there is any other antigen available on the surface, or any new antigen like available, when the old antigen is not available, so these cells, cytotoxic T cell, they identify this MHC. After identification, what do? They start covering this cell, antigen presenting cell. After covering, they will, as you know, the name is indicating cytotoxic T cells. It's a toxic like. So it will undergo the process of apoptosis Also, you can pronounce this word as apoptosis. So then this cytotoxic T cells with the antigen presenting cell, they will combine. After their combination, they will convert this cell into a mechanism known as apoptosis, by which the cell will be destroyed, will be broken down. You can say a programmed cell death will happen. It's a program like, so it is a well sequenced cell death. Now that is called apoptosis. Like this, the antigen which was supposed to cause a disease in the body will no longer stay in the body because these cell destroyed those antigen. And sometimes what happen, you get the memory inside. That is done by the B and T cells. They both combine and they form the cells known as memory cells. These cells are formed by the combination of A cells and B cells. B and T cells. The B cells and T cells, they will combine together and they will make some memory cells. Now, what are the memory cells responsible for? Memory cells will store the information of this antigen. If this antigen second time wants to come inside, or this antigen if comes again, then the memory cells are available. So now, due to this memory cells, the body will be immune enough and will be very easy for the body to fight against this antigen. Suppose before this antigen was supposed to be countered in 30 minutes, but because of this, I'm giving a supposition, okay, because of this memory cells, it will be counted in 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes they will be destroyed and a person will become okay again. So this is the way or the function of the memory cells. So in this video we covered about the humoral and cellular mediated immunity along with the memory cells explanation a little bit, and hope so you got. If you have any kind of question regarding the immunity or immune system, so you are requested to put that in the comment box or drop it in the comment box. We will come soon inshallah to answer those questions. Thank you for watching and supporting us. Thank you. Thank you.